I will explain to you what the day of decision is. Woe on that day to those who denied the truth. Did we not destroy the first disbelievers? We shall make the last follow them. This is how we deal with the guilty. Woe on that day to those who denied the truth. Did we not make you from an underrated fluid, which we housed in a safe lodging for a determined period? We determine it, how excellently we determine. Woe on that day to those who denied the truth. Did we not make the earth a home for the living and the dead? Did we not place firm, lofty mountains on it, and provide you with sweet water? Woe on that day to those who denied the truth. They will be told, go to that which you used to deny. Go to a shadow of smoke. It rises in 3 columns. No shade does it give, nor relief from the flames. It shoots out sparks as large as tree trunks and as bright as copper. Woe on that day to those who deny the truth. On that day they will be speechless, and they will be given no chance to offer any excuses. Woe on that day to those who deny the truth. They will be told, this is the day of decision. We have gathered you and earlier generations. If you have any plots against me, try them now. Woe on that day to those who denied the truth. But those who took heed of God will enjoy cool shade, springs, and any fruit they desire. They will be told, eat and drink to your hearts, content as a reward for your deeds. This is how we reward those who do good. Woe on that day to those who deny the truth. You may eat and enjoy yourselves for a short while, evildoers that you are. Woe on that day to those who deny the truth. When they are told, bow down in prayer, they do not do so. Woe on that day to those who deny the truth. In what revelation after this will they believe?
The surah is a Meccan surah in which there are short verses which are very powerful, and there's a set of rhetorical questions, right? Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, did we not destroy the first disbelievers? Did we not make the earth a home for the living and the dead? Did we not place firm, lofty mountains on it, provide you with sweet water? Right? And then, even if you're thinking about it, the only one that provided all of these things is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. If anybody denies this, they're going to have a punishment. But then, look at the end of the surah. Look at verses 41 to the end, 48. It's a contrast between the believers and the disbelievers. How the believers, earlier on in the surah, it said they're going to be in different, fire is going to come on them, different columns, different colors, right? But the believers, they're going to be in shade. They're going to be able to eat and drink plentiful to their heart's content. And this is how we reward those who do good. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. May the people who deny all of this be destroyed. And it's going to be told to the people in this world who deny the hereafter, eat and enjoy yourselves for a little while. How evildoers you are, right? And at the end of the surah, what's one of the main reasons? وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ ارْكَعُوا لَا يَرْكَعُونَ. When it's told to bow down, they do not bow down. You know, subhanAllah, I think it was Imam Malik, rahimahullah, in his opinion, in his madhab, that after Asr, they don't pray, even if they come into the masjid, they don't pray Tahiyyat al-Masjid. So one time, he came into the masjid, and someone told him, he didn't know who he was, he told him, pray 2 rakats of Tahiyyat al-Masjid before you sit down. So Imam Malik, he prayed. And so one of his students saw him praying. And he said that, why did you pray? Because I know you think that after Asr, you're not supposed to pray anything. He said, I didn't want to be among the people that وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ ارْكَعُوا لَا يَرْكَعُونَ. When it's told to them to pray, that they don't pray. So even though my madhab says I'm not supposed to pray at this time, I remember this ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He described the people of the fire of hell, the criminals, as those, when it's told to them, pray, they do not pray. They refuse to pray. So He prayed. So you see that it's important for us to understand that we have responsibilities and obligations to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to each other. But one of the most essential obligations that we have is salah. Emphasizing salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَ يُؤْمِنُونَ. After this, what revelation will they believe in? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to establish the salah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to believe in the revelation. Inshallah, now we're going to start the 30th juz. And 30th juz starts with Surah Naba. Surah Naba is it's a description of the Day of Judgment, and also about how no one will have any authority on that day except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the disbeliever on that day, he'll just be crying out, lamenting, and wishing that he was just dust, that he had no accountability, right? But that's not the reality. The reality is that he's going to be punished for his actions, and the believers will be rewarded for their obedience.
A Meccan surah. The disbelievers often ask incredulously about the resurrection. This surah gives evidence of God's power, then explains what will happen on the day of resurrection, and the respective fates of believers and disbelievers. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. What do they question about the momentous announcement over which they defer? They will find out. In the end, they will find out. Did we not make the earth smooth and make the mountains to keep it stable? Did we not create you in pairs, give you sleep for rest, the night as a cover, and the day for your livelihood? Did we not build 7 strong heavens above you, and make a blazing lamp? Did we not send water pouring down from the clouds to bring forth with it grains, plants, and luxuriant gardens? A time has been appointed for the day of decision, a day when the trumpet will sound and you will come forward in crowds, when the sky is opened and becomes wide portals, when the mountains are set in motion and become a mirage. Hell lies in wait, a home for oppressors, to stay in for a long, long time, where they will taste no coolness nor drink, except one that is scalding and dark, a fitting requital. For they did not fear a reckoning, and they utterly rejected our messages as lies. We have recorded everything in a record. Taste this, all you will get from us is more torment. For those who are aware of God, there is supreme fulfillment, gardens, vineyards, maidens of matching age, and an overflowing cup. There they will hear no vain or lying talk. A reward from your Lord, a fitting gift from the Lord of the heavens and earth and everything between, the Lord of mercy. They will have no authority from him to speak. On the day when the Spirit and the angels stand in rows, they will not speak except for those to whom the Lord of mercy gives permission, and who will say only what is right. That is the day of truth. So whoever wishes to do so should take a way back to his Lord. We have warned you of imminent torment on the day when every person will see what their own hands have sent ahead for them, when the disbeliever will say, if only I were dust.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning the Day of Judgment, talks a little bit about what He subhanahu wa ta'ala has done. And then if you look at verses 26 to 30, He says that, for they did not fear the fitting requital, right? After mentioning some of the punishments that's going to happen, the hell lies in wait, a fitting requital, they did not fear reckoning. They did not fear the accountability from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they rejected messages as lies. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has everything in the record, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell them to taste this. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the people of paradise and some of their rewards. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the last verses, the last verse, إِنَّا أَنذَرْنَاكُمْ عَذَابًا قَرِيبًا. This, Allah is warning us of a very qariba. عَذَابًا قَرِيبًا, very close punishment. Right? Here it says imminent torment, very close punishment. يَوْمَ يَنْظُرُ الْمَرْءُ مَا قَدَّمَتْ يَدَاهُ. On that day when every person will see what their own hands have sent ahead of for them. Right? What, you know how say that we're traveling. We don't have enough space or things, so we ship our luggage, our baggage, to our destination. And when we get there, it's already there waiting for us. What have we sent forward for the akhirah? In Surah Fajr, we'll see that person says, يَا لَيْتَنِي قَدَّمْتُ لِحَيَاتِي. I wish that I put something forward for my true life. Right here, so that then if we haven't put anything forward, then the person will wish they don't exist. They wish that they'll be like the animals and they'll turn into dust and they have no accountability. But as humans, we do have accountability. We have the ability to prepare, and we have the ability to prepare in this life for the akhirah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to see truth as truth and give us the ability to follow it, and allow us to see falsehood as falsehood and give us the ability to stay away from it. In Surah An-Nazi'at, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions you know, how the angels are going to come and his ability to resurrect people. And he talks about the story of Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun. And then he talks to us about the Day of Judgment. And what's the difference between a person who will go to Jannah and a person that will go to the fire in terms of their desires and in terms of how they live their life.
A Meccan surah, the main theme of which is the possibility and inevitability of the resurrection, its results and its timing. The story of Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun acts as encouragement to the Prophet ﷺ and a warning to the disbelievers. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. By the forceful chargers, raring to go, sweeping ahead at full stretch, overtaking swiftly to sort a matter out. On the day when the blast reverberates and the second blast follows, hearts will tremble and eyes will be downcast. They say, "What? Shall we be brought back to life after we have turned into decayed bones?" And they say, "Such a return is impossible. But all it will take is a single blast, and see, they will be back above ground." Have you, Prophet ﷺ, heard the story of Musa alayhi salam? His Lord called out to him in the sacred valley of Tuwa, "Go to Fir'aun, for he has exceeded all bounds, and ask him, do you want to purify yourself of sin? Do you want me to guide you to your Lord so that you may hold him in awe?" Musa alayhi salam showed him the great sign, but he denied and refused the faith. He turned away and hastily gathered his people, proclaiming, "I am your supreme Lord." So God condemned him to punishment in the life to come as well as in this life. There truly is a lesson in this for anyone who stands in awe of God, which is harder to create. You people, or the sky that he built, raising it high and perfecting it, giving darkness to its night and bringing out its morning brightness, and the earth too. He spread out, bringing waters and pastures out of it, and setting firm mountains in it for you and your animals to enjoy. But when the great overwhelming event arrives on that day, that man remembers what he has done, and hell is there for all to see. For anyone who has transgressed and preferred the present life, hell will be home. For anyone who feared the meeting with his Lord and restrained himself from base desires, paradise will be home. They ask you, Prophet ﷺ, about the hour, saying, "When will it arrive?" But how can you tell them that? Its time is known only to your Lord. You are only sent to warn those who fear it. On the day they see it, it will seem they lingered in this life for an evening or its morning.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the surah, after mentioning the Day of Judgment, most of the Mufassirin are of the opinion, if you read the Hamish, the footnote, he says there's a little bit of difference of opinion, but most of the Mufassirin are of the opinion that Nazi'at are the angels that take the souls. Right? This is clear. According to Naza'at is someone that snatches something, the angels that snatch the souls. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentioned the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, and you see humility versus arrogance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Fir'aun with a lot of things, and he said to Musa alayhi salam to guide him, to purify himself, his soul, and to guide him to that which is most beneficial for him in this dunya and the akhirah. But Fir'aun was arrogant, right? And he claimed, wa'adhu billah, to be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished him in this dunya and the akhirah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what is harder to create, the heavens, and the earth, or people. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that hell is for the home. Who is hell a home for? People who? Yeah, for those who followed the desires and preferred the life of this world and transgressed all bounds. And paradise is the home for who? وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. The people, what do they fear? They feared standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and giving accountability. And what did that fear cause them to do? Restrain their desires and passions and desires. And this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that when the people on the Day of Judgment, they will think that the time that they experience on earth compared to eternity, they'll feel like it was just a part of a day. Right? Ashiyatan duhaha, meaning that lingered in life in evening or it's morning. And then they'll regret what they have done because they know that their eternal place is determined by how they live their life in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to see the reality of this world as it is. Surah Abasa is a Meccan surah in which the Prophet ﷺ was speaking with a group of Quraysh, and Abdullah ibn Maktoum radiallahu anhu came to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ, he frowned and he turned away because he wanted to talk to the powerful and the elite of the Meccan society, even though Abdullah ibn Maktoum was blind and he didn't see the Prophet ﷺ frown. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw in front, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this surah in regards to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's behavior, and told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that, and the Muslims as a whole, that Abdullah ibn Maktoum, even though, yes, he's blind, and he doesn't have a lot of power or status in the community or in the society, he, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is better than the powerful elite of the Quraysh. Why? Because he's a believer. And no matter how powerful, influential, rich, whatever you want to say, a person is in this world, if he's not a believer, the lowest of the believers is more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to submit to him and to believe him.
A Meccan surah. While the Prophet ﷺ was speaking to some disbelieving notables, hoping to convert them, a blind Muslim man came up to learn from him. But in his eagerness to attract the disbelievers to Islam, the Prophet ﷺ frowned at him. The Prophet ﷺ is then reproached and told not to concern himself with the disbelievers. In the second paragraph, there is a condemnation of man's ingratitude. Man becomes self-satisfied and forgets his origin and his final return to God. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. He frowned and turned away when the blind man came to him. For all you know, he might have grown in spirit, or taken note of something useful to him. For the self-satisfied one, you go out of your way, though it is not your responsibility if he does not attain purity. But from the one who has come to you full of eagerness and awe, you are distracted. No, indeed, this is a reminder. Whoever wishes will remember it. Inscribed in honored scrolls, exalted, pure, by the hands of noble and virtuous scribes. Let man perish, how ungrateful he is. From what thing does God create him? He creates him from a droplet. He proportions him. He makes the way easy for him. And then he causes him to die and be buried. When he wills, he will raise him up again. Yet man does not fulfill God's commands. Let man consider the food he eats. We pour down abundant water and cause the soil to split open. We make grain grow, and vines, fresh vegetation, olive trees, date palms, luscious gardens, fruits, and fodder, all for you and your livestock to enjoy. When the deafening blast comes, the day man will flee from his own brother, his mother, his father, his wife, his children. Each of them will be absorbed in concerns of their own on that day. On that day, some faces will be beaming, laughing, and rejoicing. But some faces will be dust-stained and covered in darkness. Those are the disbelievers who exceed all bounds.
Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning the incident that happened to Abdullah ibn Maktoum radiallahu anhu, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he never held this against Abdullah ibn Maktoum, rather he honored Abdullah ibn Maktoum. And whenever the Prophet ﷺ would go outside of Medina, he would make Abdullah ibn Maktoum in charge of Medina. And he would make him also a mu'addin. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ, if something like this happened to us, and someone told us, okay, we treated this person, we should have done better in treating this person, we would look at this person, I got in trouble because of you. Right? You stay away from me. No. The Prophet ﷺ honored him, elevated him, and gave him respect, because he looked at this as a learning opportunity to do which is what is right. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the second paragraph, right, he mentioned about ingratitude. The person's ingratitude will kill a person. That will destroy a person. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of the ayat, he says, think about it. Where did you come from? What do you eat? Who causes rain to come down? Who gives you crops? Who gives you food and fodder for not only yourself and your animals? In response to this, how do we respond? In response to how do we act? Are we grateful? Do we acknowledge that, oh Allah, if you didn't send out rain, what would we do? We couldn't do anything. Oh Allah, if you didn't cause the crops to grow, we wouldn't have nothing to eat. We don't do that. Humans as a whole, they're ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to thank Him and to appreciate the blessings that He has bestowed upon us. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the horrors of the Day of Judgment, that every person will be concerned about himself, except for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be concerned about his ummah. When people are saying nafsi, nafsi, he will be saying ummati, ummati sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes to the end of the surah, He says, on that day some faces will be beaming, laughing and rejoicing, but some faces will be dusty and covered in darkness, and it's a contrast between the believers and the disbelievers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all among those that are entered into Jannah without any hisab. In Surah Tafseer and Surah Infitar, we'll do them together inshallah. These are two surahs that are describing the characteristics of the Day of Judgment, right? What is going to happen. And some of the scholars said, I think it was Ibn Abbas, he said that if you want to know what's going to happen on the Day of Judgment, read Surah Takwir, Infitar, and Inshiqaq. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the splitting of the earth, the rolling up of the sun, these type of things in this surah. And then He asks us a series of questions, inshallah, we'll reflect on them. But we'll do Surah Takwir and Infitar together, 81 and 82 together, inshallah.
A Meccan surah stressing the fact that people will be confronted by their deeds on Judgment Day, asserting the truth of the Qur'an and calling people to the right path. It opens with a powerful description of events on that day, and the title of the surah is taken from this description. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. When the sun is rolled up, when the stars are dimmed, when the mountains are set in motion, when pregnant camels are abandoned, when wild beasts are herded together, when the seas boil over, when souls are sorted into classes, when the baby girl buried alive is asked for what sin she was killed, when the records of deeds are spread open, when the sky is stripped away, when hell is made to blaze and paradise brought near, then every soul will know what it has brought about. I swear by the planets that recede, move and hide, by the night that descends, by the dawn that softly breathes. This is the word spoken by a noble messenger, who possesses great strength and is held in honor by the Lord of the throne. Obey there and worthy of trust. Your companion is not mad. He did see him on the clear horizon. He does not withhold what is revealed to him from beyond. This is not the word of an outcast devil. So where are you people going? This is a message for all people, for those who wish to take the straight path. But you will only wish to do so by the will of God, the Lord of all people. The breaking. A Meccan surah dealing with man's ingratitude and his failure to concede the Day of Judgment will come. Again, the surah opens with a powerful description of events on the Day of Judgment, and the title is taken from this description. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. When the sky breaks, when the stars are scattered, when the seas burst forth, when graves turn inside out, each soul will know what it has done and what it has left undone. You human being, what has lured you away from your generous Lord, who created you, shaped you, proportioned you in whatever form He chose? Yet you still take the judgment to be a lie. Over you stand watchers, noble recorders who know what you do. The good will live in bliss, and the wicked will burn in the fire. They will enter it on the Day of Judgment, and they will find no escape. What will explain to you what the Day of Judgment is? Yes, what will explain to you what the Day of Judgment is? The day when no soul will be able to do anything for another. On that day, command will belong to God.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Takwir mentions some of the signs of the Day of Judgment, and one of the things that really sticks out to me every time I read the surah, that the girl that was buried alive, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. When the girl that was buried alive will ask, what was her sin? What sin did she commit? And this is something that, subhanAllah, it makes our hearts tremble, and fear for neglecting those that are in our care. Right? And that's where accountability comes in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us authority over certain people and responsibilities. If we abuse our responsibilities, then they're going to question us. Why? What did I do to deserve this treatment from you? What was my sin? Did I commit a crime? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to fulfill our responsibilities. Then one of the things that I wrote is, after talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam not being insane, and he saw what he saw, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protecting him, the question 26. So people, where are you people going? فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? Ask yourself this question. Where are we headed? If our souls are taken today, are we confident that we're on the right path? Right? We don't know. If we're not, then what can we do to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And this is a message for all people, for those who wish to take the straight path. Right? So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us all to the straight path, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that anything that is preventing us from taking the straight path and being firm on the straight path, that He removes it from us and He removes us from it. Okay? In Surah Infitar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the things He mentioned is Ya ayyuhal insanu ma gharraka bi rabbika al-kareem. O people, what has, here it says, what has lured you? What does it say? Yeah, what has lured you away from your generous Lord? Right? Al-ghurur is like distraction, deceived you. What has turned us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Right? So if there's anything that is an obstacle between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to remove that. Because it's not worth sacrificing. Sometimes we think that this thing is so important to us. If something is important to you, it's not more important than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not more important than following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks a little bit about the Day of Judgment, and the Day of Judgment is a day. يَوْمَ لَا تَمْلِكُ نَفْسٌ لِنَفْسٍ شَيْئًا وَالْأَمْرُ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلَّهِ. The day when no soul will be able to do anything for another. On that day, command will belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the ability to prepare for the Day of Judgment.
Stars and stuff like that. So should we take a liberty?
Yeah, it's like Pluto and Neptune and none of them.
Oh, okay. It's like,
yeah.
This one. Oh,
No, actually, Pluto, I don't find anymore, right?
Right, it's water or something. Oh, something.
A Meccan surah, the practice of cheating appears to have been prevalent in Mecca and is strongly condemned here and elsewhere in the Quran. In the surah, the fate of the cheats and disbelievers is contrasted with the delight in store for the good. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. Woe to those who give short measure, who demand of other people full measure for themselves, but when it is they who weigh or measure for others, give less than they should. Do these people not realize that they will be raised up on a mighty day? A day when everyone will stand before the Lord of the worlds. No, indeed, the record of wicked is in the Sijjeen. What will explain to you what Sijjeen is? A clearly written record. Woe on that day to the deniers, those who deny the Day of Judgment. Only the evil aggressor denies it. When our revelations are recited to him, he says, ancient fables. No, their hearts are encrusted with what they have done. No. On that day, they will be screened off from their Lord, when they will burn in hell. And then they will be told, this is what you called a lie. But the record of the truly good is in the Illiyun. What will explain to you what Illiyun is? A clearly written record, witnessed by those brought near. The truly good will live in bliss, seated on couches, gazing around. You will recognize on their faces the radiance of bliss. They will be served a sealed nectar, its seal perfumed with a fragrant herb. Let those who strive for this, mixed with the water of tasneem, a spring from which those brought near will drink. The wicked used to laugh at the believers. They would wink one another when the believers passed by them, joke about them when they got back to their own people, and say, when they saw them, these people are misguided, though they were not sent to be their keepers. So today, the believers are laughing at disbelievers as they sit on couches gazing around. Have the disbelievers not been repaid for their deeds?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here he mentions the scales, and just to put it in contemporary terms, people would cheat others, right? In terms of their business, in terms of their academics, in terms of anything. Cheating is not allowed in Islam. And this is a big problem, right? All across the board, that people, they think that, oh, what's the big deal if we cheat? What's the big deal if we're unethical? What's the big deal if we take from the rights of others? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the surah is telling us that it is a big deal. And He threatens them with sijjin. Sijjin is it comes from the word prison. And these are people that will be in the lowest depths of the fire of hell. So Islam, our religion, remember I keep telling myself and all of us that we need to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to observe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rights. If we're praying our salah, and then we go out and we cheat others, and we abuse the rights of others, then the salah, we're not praying our salah in the right way. Our salah is not having its intended effect. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Because salah is a means to prevent us from immorality and evil. Right? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the believers who are fair, who are just. They will be in Illiyun. And Illiyun is the highest levels of paradise. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in part of verse 25, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. If you want to compete with somebody, compete with them in being honest. Compete with them in being just. Compete with them in being fair. Compete with them in terms of your akhirah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the wicked and the wicked disbelievers who used to laugh at the believers, and they used to make him a source of entertainment. One was walking by, they would look at the way that he walked, they would look at the way that he dressed, they would look at his beard, they would look at his, if his sister was wearing hijab, and they would point to each other as a form of mockery. But in the day of judgment, they'll realize that the joke is on them. Right? Then the believers will laugh at them, and because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never let His believers go and suffer at the hands of the disbelievers, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to rejoice in the delights of paradise. And this is mentioned in the surah as well. Radiance of bliss, they will be served in sealed nectar, and all these things. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to benefit from the delights of paradise. In Surah Inshiqaq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the day of judgment.